We look like we're live.
All right. Okay, guys. Welcome to Point Fighter Radio. I'm Alex Reyes. This is Alex Dingmann. And welcome to our first show, Alex and Alex, Point Fighter Radio Show. We're going to be talking about a lot of topics, a lot of debates. I'm really excited about this, Alex, because um, we could also bring in people as well, not just me and you. So people could copy the link, go into the green room, and bam, come on and talk to us.
And I hope they do. I hope they do come in
So,
and chime in with their opinions or takes or topics. If they like a different one that we could talk about, because you and I we'll talk about just about anything sport karate. And even if it's just you and I mean, we won't have a problem with that, and they can play this back and listen to it as well.
exactly. So, yeah, man, I'm really excited about this. And this has been the main reason why I haven't had a radio show in a while, because I've been trying to set it up to this format. So, right now I'm just sharing it so that everybody could join us. We're going to talk about teams today. So, and if there's anybody out there that's listening and you want us to talk about something, just write a subject on there, and we'll debate it if we have time. Best team so far this year.
Well, every main team has won a big event, and so it's kind of difficult because you got the All Stars and they've won some events. You've got Paul Mitchell, they've won some events. Impex has won some events. Hayabusa just recently won the last two. They won the U.S. Open and Dixieland, and prior to that, Hayabusa actually hadn't won a team fighting event. They won Dixieland last year. There wasn't a lot of team members or teams there. And we didn't even have our full team. So this year, winning the U.S. Open over Paul Mitchell was a big deal, at least for our team. So I would have to say, of all of them, and this is even including the next levels and the propers and the WKFs and so forth, I would probably say the hardest team to beat right now, if all of them are together, would probably be Impex. So I'm hopeful that at the Diamond Nationals, next biggest one that's coming up soon, the biggest major one, that Paul Mitchell, All Stars, Impex, Hayabusa, I hope everybody is there and in full strength.
True that.
And we're really going to find out. And as it sits, it's probably Impex.
Yeah, that's true. There's two NASCAR tournaments left in the season: the Diamonds and Pan Am, and those are two good fighting tournaments. But probably the one where you have the big three, Impex, Paul Mitchell, and All Stars, maybe Diamonds, right? You never know. And now Hayabusa is kind of in that talk too. How about the addition of Brian to the team? He's made a big impact on Hayabusa as well.
Let me speak on that one for a moment. So when Brian first joined the team, because I've been watching, I've actually been watching Ibrahim Morales and Brian Rodriguez for a while, and I was very impressed for the past few years with Ibrahim Morales, and I just really think that guy's super talented. And I remember, and this was a while back, Beta was telling me, he says, "Hey, don't sleep on Brian." I was like, all right, I'll look at him. But when Hayabusa made the decision to pick up Brian, I immediately got on the phone and I was like, guys, this is a good call. And it was really weird and interesting. Some other guy, I'm not going to mention names, but there were some other people asked me from other teams to say, hey, how do you feel about that? He's joining your team. What does that mean for you? And I'm going to talk about this later. But let me just say, I think Brian Rodriguez he's a very consistent, he's very smart, and he's very efficient fighter. So I mean, he could, if he keeps taking these next steps, he could really end up finding himself in contention for overalls consistently. So I think the addition with Brian Rodriguez, I really think that does a lot for this team. I mean, really look at it. If you want to boil it down, we won the U.S. Open with pretty close to the same guys, except we added. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about Brian a little bit, and everybody out there that's doesn't know too much about him. He's Venezuelan. He's from Venezuela, and he was one of the top Venezuelans when he came over. He's been here for a few years now, and let me tell you, the work ethic of the Venezuelans is like so high. It's like this is their life. I'm telling you, they train every single day. They go to 2 tournaments a weekend. You know what I mean? And then one day he just comes over here. Brian is competing, and Ibrahim Morales, all the Venezuelans are here in Florida right now. They go to a tournament every weekend, and they don't even care about the prize money. Sometimes they get win the overall in Florida, and they're like, oh, there's prize money. They don't even care. They love it. That's how much they love the sport. You know what I mean? So you don't really see that too much over here in the United States now. But, I love that work that they come over here with. So yeah, man. I mean, Brian with Roman, that's a great combination there with anybody they line them up with. I think that's an awesome combo there.
And there's so many different combinations. So this is why when I mentioned that Impex might be the top one right now, it's just because of their consistency and what they've done. But look at what you just mentioned. You just mentioned Brian and Roman. And you could enter 4 guys. You might be Jeremy Francourt. It might be Obeda Benwali. What about Borelli?
That's true.
John Curtillo. John Curtillo is one of the most underrated guys. All right. And that's not even taken into, we still have other guys. There's still Julio Lugo. There's still Nathan Skofis. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I'm on the team too.
Yeah. I think though, those guys were on the team before Brian came on, though. And I think Brian just made a huge impact right there that took it over the top. So I think Hayabusa is one of the top. I would say Impex, they lost to Paul Mitchell at the battle. So that, to me, they were the best team until that happened. But then, then Paul Mitchell lost at the U.S. Open, right? They won the battle. They lost at the U.S. Open. So, I mean, I would say more wins, and hard, good wins. I would give the edge to Impex as the top team this year. That's my pick right there.
Well, it's hard to disagree with that. It would have been, now we could have a definitive if we would have seen Impex at the U.S. Open.
Yeah. That's true.
The non-national is coming. It's coming. We're going to see it happen.
Yeah, it is. It's coming. And also at the battle, Grenier wasn't with them yet. Although that lineup with Willie Hicks, Ross, and Avery, that's a team that's beaten pretty much almost everybody already. So, but now you have Grenier in there. That's crazy. The chemistry that they have. Hey, so we're going to talk about a topic, okay? And you guys could chime in as well. Let's say this was on the Poe and Point Fighter. You guys have a new sponsorship, right? You have a new team. It's yours. You got a great deal. Who do you pick first? Do you pick a coach or a fighter? Who would you pick first? If you guys are on there, our first show.
You asking me?
Yeah, hold on. Listen, for all you guys listening, I want to hear your opinions too. Right now, I can't see it. It's the first time we're doing this on this platform, and I'm trying to see. I think I could see your comments. So if you want to comment, maybe I'll see it. I'll say what's up, and I'll give your opinion as well on here. Okay, and we'll talk about it. So, coach or player, what would you go with first, Alex?
You want me to take this one first?
I could go first.
You go first.
Okay.
You go first.
Look,
I'm gonna sit back. I gotta buckle up for this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, well, it depends. Can we pick? Well, okay, we're gonna do it on right now, and that everybody set in their teams, and you have a fresh new team and sponsorship. The first,
If
the first
everybody
person I would get, it was a coach. You want to know why?
Okay.
Because a
Tell me.
coach, a well-respected coach, will get the fighters to come in. You know what I mean? So just because you have money and a sponsor, you know, like a fighter, a high caliber fighter isn't gonna go fight for Joe Smoes, you know. So they gotta have that respect of the coach, and that coach is kind of, you know, he has a respect of everybody, and that's who I would start out with. I would start out with, even name some names. I would start out with right now with who's available. I would start out with Anthony Price, you know, and I guarantee you that Anthony Price is respected by so many fighters. People are going to be calling him to fight with him. Maybe people that are on teams already. You know what I'm saying? So that's my pick. Who do you got?
So that's a very good take, and that's a really good point to go that way. So let's look at it for what it is. In our activity, in our sport, everybody is available, even if they're not available, even if they're not going to go. So if somebody wanted it, if somebody was mad, didn't like their situation,
that's true.
Deuces, I'm out here, I'm joining this team. If somebody wanted someone bad enough, there's a price. All right? Like, let me give you an example. It would be pretty hard to try to get, and because we were just talking about them already, Avery Plowden off of Impex. I mean, how are you going to do that? How are you going to get that guy off of that team? You say, hey, I'd like you to come fight for my team. Not only will I pay for everything, and I'll cover this. You know, I'll sponsor this thing and that thing. You know, I'll sponsor just other trainings. I'll get you to this event. How are you going to try and get him off his dad's team? You can't. It's probably never going to happen.
That's
right?
true.
So in order for that to happen, you might need to get other guys or people. You might need to get his dad as the coach. You might need to get his sister on there as well. It might need to be a package deal. Now, I don't have any idea. I've never talked to anybody about this ever. So please don't anybody think that I had a conversation, because I absolutely have not. All right? But for me, whether it's the coach or the fighter, it's marketable commodity that you can get. So if I'm starting a team, and please don't anybody think I'm just drinking Kool-Aid. You get Raymond Daniels, and you do whatever you can to get him. Raymond Daniels is the most marketable guy that there's been, even if he's not fighting. And let me explain how and why. When Raymond Daniels was on Paul Mitchell, you couldn't really tell, because Paul Mitchell was always Paul Mitchell. When Raymond Daniels went to Team Straight Up, I mean, let's look at it. Everybody and their brother wants to wear purple. Now, when he went to the All-Stars, here's where it all turned. When he went to the All-Stars, now all of a sudden you really started to see what his marketability was. And then when they got behind, when they started wearing the SAP uniforms, people forget about this. They wore SAP uniforms, and they started wearing SAP gear. That is when all that gear started becoming more popular in the States, and people started wearing that a lot. And it happened at the same time that Raymond Daniels and the All-Stars started getting that. He gets in partnership with Jason Chen, and they become All-Star Gear. What happened? All-Star Gear blew up. Okay? Now, it is not only because of one guy. Please don't anybody think that I'm saying that. I'm just looking at Raymond Daniels as his marketability. Then, when he's no longer a part of All-Star Gear, and he's with Fighters Inc. and Top 10, look at that. Every other team, it's you got one choice or the other. You just look at the landscape of it. They're either wearing All-Star Gear, uniforms and gear, or Fighters Inc. Top 10 gear. And then there's Hayabusa. But anyway, all right?
Yeah, and
He is the
also
most
like a bunch of
marketable
teams
guy.
wearing ASG as well. But hey, I agree with you.
Right.
I agree with you 100%. One problem though. You want to hear it?
No, go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah.
How hard will it be to get Raymond Daniels? Because he's done. He don't even go watch his All-Star team. He has a team. He's not around at all. 0%. It's kind of like he just gave the team to the Lakers, right? So
and it kind of seems like
maybe
that.
when he was
And
fighting,
like
that was the plan, but not now, right? You couldn't do
So
that now
then
because
here
he's not
goes.
fighting.
So then you got to go to your plan B. So what did I say before? I said the most marketable guy. You go with the most
Johnny
marketable
baby.
commodity. So look at, big picture, most marketable. The next person, because what I would love is for you to not just perform well. It's not the performance at an event cannot be the end all be all. It's what can I provide for my team?
If you got Raymond, right, you would want him to fight for you or just be be a rep behind, be the face of the team kind of, or would you tell him, hey, come out of retirement, fight, I'll pay you whatever you want? Is that the angle you would go for?
If you have, let me ask you this. If you had an opportunity for Raymond Daniels to be a part of your team in any way, do you say no?
Would I say no? Me?
Yeah.
To be the part of WKF?
Yeah. Would you say no?
Man, Raymond Daniels is the best of all time, in my opinion. But yeah, I would say no. Because the problem with Raymond is
not.
The whole world revolves around Raymond. That's it. You know what I mean? So
Correct.
It's Raymond and everybody else.
What you're getting into. When
you know what I'm saying?
You gotta buy into him 1,000%.
Yeah.
So here's what I mean. And he does. Listen. Now there is a circus with that in some ways, and I don't mean it to be in a bad way. All right, because when he's around, right, it is the Raymond Daniels show, and in a lot of ways, all right, he's earned it. However, there's a lot of other guys here that want to fight, and they're part of the same team. Let them have their shine. I get it, right? So what if he was involved in another capacity? But what if you say to a tournament, you're saying, listen, we're interested in coming to your event. It's going to be Team XYZ with Raymond Daniels. Now you're much more marketable. Now you can negotiate things a little bit differently because you have that name attached to it. That's just another thing. Okay, so let's move past the Raymond Daniels thing. If Daniels, you have to go to the next most marketable commodity.
So that's who you go with, though. The most marketable. It doesn't matter if it's a fighter or a coach.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, most marketable person. But I will tell you, there's probably 10, 12 more marketable fighters than there are coaches. All right? Going down the list of it, they're more important because they're the ones, they're the product itself. Okay? So you got to look at it like, okay, who can transcend past what's happening in this ring? All right? What do people gravitate towards? All right. Who do people gravitate towards? Okay. So there's a handful of people. Ross Levine right now is probably one of them. Okay. He's got a big personality and he's good and people like him. Okay. Now here's the only problem though, is for the same type of things that you were talking about with Raymond Daniels, Ross Levine isn't always available. Now I say if Ross Levine's at your tournament, everybody's eyeballing Ross Levine like, man, is he going to win the whole thing? Of course they would say that because he's done that. Okay. So now if it's there, the next two people I would look at.
But you're giving names that are people on teams already. Raymond's gone. Ross, this is fantasy land, right?
But it's not. But it's not fantasy land. And here's why it's not fantasy land.
But
everybody
listen,
has
real quick. I love Raymond Daniels. You know what I mean? This conversation right now is making me say Raymond, come back. Right? Even if you're not fighting, go stand behind your team because you do bring that electricity. And I bet you that your team would even perform better if you're there just watching, not even coaching. So the sport misses you, and I know you're doing a great job in the Bellator, and we wish you luck with that. But the sport wants you, you know. So I'd like to see you more at tournaments. That's a message to you. Hey, so Alex, you gotta pick someone that's not on a team right now. Who do you get? Who do you start your team?
All right, you really want me to do that? See, this is silly. This is silly. You know why it's silly to pick someone who's not on a team? Because we get recycled. Fighters get recycled. That's why fighters are on 4 or 5 different teams. Because the best fighters.
So you would just go to Ross.
Nowhere,
so you would go to Ross. That's your next pick. Ross ain't going nowhere. So who's your next?
You're not gonna like my next pick either.
Is it one of my guys?
It's Justin Ortiz.
Oh, okay, Justin. Okay.
And here's why I would say Justin.
But as a coach or a fighter?
Fighter. Here's why I say Justin. Because Justin can speak Spanish. Justin has an electric personality. And the fact that he's bilingual, all right, markets him more in other areas, all right? People gravitate towards it. People feel more comfortable with that because they feel like he's more like them, all right? Listen, okay, Alex, you understand that to a certain extent because you get that, all right? And people just get that. So, like, you brought up Reyes in Venezuela. So there's a student of mine. He's a pretty talented fighter. He's on Team DKS. His name is Alonzo Payne. And he was at the last couple of events with DKS, and he really enjoys his experiences with them. And he says to me, he goes, man, I'm the only guy on the team that don't speak Spanish. I'm hanging out with Brian Rodriguez, and he's talking to me in Spanish, just assuming that I speak Spanish. And he's like, nah, bro, I don't have any idea what you're saying. And he's like, and Brian just goes, oh, and walks away because now they don't communicate the same. Because now it's like there's not that comfort level. Right. With Justin, you market yourself so much more to other areas. And let's look at what I'm talking about with the marketing. Isn't that the main thing that we're talking about? Where's the sponsorship money coming from? It's coming from people and places and businesses that want to market their stuff. So if you want to market your stuff, you go with the most marketable commodity. But we get caught up with winning first. Like, that's all it is. Yes, winning is going to market you, all right? But if you have a bunch of a-holes on your team that no one likes, all right?
But the angle you're going is to steal from other teams. So you better have a much better package than the other teams have, and a long-term package. It better be like 5 years to get the player and put a lot of bonus money and spending money. That's the only way you're going to get those 3 guys you just said. Now me.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Is there any fighter that you could pick up today that's not on a team?
Yeah.
That's really going to start win in team fights and win overall team fights?
If I had the money, I would go.
No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I'm saying. Is there a fighter
There's plenty of fighters
right now?
There's plenty of fighters in Mexico, Venezuela, and Europe that
I'll give you that.
You could form a team and bring them over here, and you could win. But it costs a lot of money.
But look at what that would cost.
Exactly.
You want to bring fighters from Europe to America to fight and win, and that's going to cost you a ton. But then you were just talking about bonuses. It might be cheaper to add in bonuses and extra just appearance costs.
And by
just to have those other big name fighters that are probably going to win the thing anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But without stealing, you know.
You get caught in that again.
So let us know what you guys think. You know, does anybody out there think that you could get a fighter? I mean, I can't really see your comments, but let us know. You're watching this. We're recording this live. Let us know who you would get as a coach or a fighter. Hey, we both talked about Raymond and we both talked about Ross, right?
We did.
Those guys are
We
so
did.
marketable. So I'm gonna Ross Levine versus Raymond Daniels in a Muay Thai match. This was on a poll the other day, and Ross has been fighting Muay Thai matches. He's been doing it for a few years, right? And he just had an impressive win a few weeks ago. And Bellator's been, and Raymond Daniels been doing it since the WCL days, the kickboxing, and so he has a lot more experience. But who do you think would take that match there, Ross or Raymond?
Let me say this. Ross might have one of the best chances to beat Raymond. Okay? So the guys that we've seen beat Raymond are Joseph Valtellini and Nicky Holtzkin. All right? Now, Bazooka Joe himself is the real freaking deal. Okay? Yeah. And Nicky Holtzkin, all right, if you didn't get a chance to see him fight for Nicky does not have the welterweight belt in glory anymore. He got beat.
He did.
He got beat by decision. Yeah, right. He did. He got beat by decision. And listen, Nicky was smart. Nicky beat him twice. Really just strategy-wise took Raymond out of it. And that's why I say Ross might have the best chance to do that. Okay, with all that being said, I really do think Raymond probably is going to win that matchup. Raymond's got more experience than that.
So you pick Ray.
I'll probably pick Ray, and I don't know exactly by how much and what it would look like. And if I got to choose, I would choose Ray. Because
would he hit him with a spin kick?
I think he's going to throw at least 4.
Yeah. You think he'll land them?
I mean, by the sheer numbers of it, he's going to land at least 1. Here's the difference.
Hey, and Ross is fighting differently. I think Ross fights different on a different side, right? I think in Muay Thai, he's fighting right leg back maybe. No?
Yeah, but you haven't watched Raymond's fights very carefully. Raymond spins, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Raymond's always fighting on his right side. And
that's another thing. Ross you know how Raymond fights pretty much like he looks like he's point fighting still, but Ross changed up his style completely. He looks like a Muay Thai style fighter.
Right.
You know what I mean? He doesn't look like a point fighter fighting, although he has the timing and, the footwork, I would say. Other than that, he looks like a Muay Thai guy, traditional. Where Raymond is like more of a flashy point fighter look, So how he would fight him. Would he go to his point fight side, or would he switch to the other side? You know what I mean? Because it is a difference. I switch both sides, and I have power on my right leg back and my front leg, right leg forward. I'm more flashy like that. Maybe will Raymond be too fast for him on that side if he's on that full contact Muay Thai side?
Now, wait, Raymond doesn't have 2 sides. You know that, right?
Ross does. Ross, right?
Ross. Yeah. And I appreciate that in some ways, and well, it's not like I don't appreciate it in the others, but I understand why Ross does that. So there's a good point. There could be strategies to both. Okay. Raymond has really looked at it like, okay, a smart fighter, a smart strategist looks at it this way and should look at it this way. What are my advantages? What are my disadvantages? And in the point fighting world, Raymond's advantage, for the most part, has always been, I've got the distance advantage, I've got the reach advantage, and I've got the speed advantage. Now let's just look at that. If he's got the distance and speed advantage in point fighting, in full contact kickboxing, it's going to be even greater. He's going to have even more of a speed and distance. So that's why when you watch him, he looks like he's a point fighter out there, okay? Because they can't touch his speed, they can't touch his distance and timing, all right? Now, kickboxers have great distance and timing. It's just different. It's a lot closer, and it's a different type of timing, all right? So Ross has embraced a little bit of that so that he can use that and use that against them as well.
Yeah.
So How he would approach fighting Raymond, I don't know. But
So who do you
Raymond,
pick? You
listen,
got to pick someone. I pick
I pick Raymond.
Ross.
I pick Raymond.
Ross.
You pick Ross?
Yeah, I pick Ross because I think he knows his timing and he'll chop the tree down with the leg kicks. Because Ray don't know how to check the leg kicks.
It wasn't Raymond like a landslide. I'm picking him because of the experience that he has over that. And
but he doesn't have experience checking the leg kicks.
That has been a struggle. Well, listen, I actually no.
If Ross can't land the leg kicks, he loses. If he doesn't land the leg kicks, Ross is done. Raymond will beat him. But if he lands the leg kicks, he wins. That's what I say.
Okay, then you didn't watch Raymond's last fight with Nicky. In Raymond's last fight with Nicky, he was destroyed. He destroyed Nicky in the first round. In the second round, Nicky wasn't leg kicking him. What Nicky did was Nicky cornered him and just cut off his movement so that he couldn't spin. Nicky got him into a corner, and the ref actually had to stop the fight because Raymond got a cut over his eye that was pretty big. And so that's how the fight ended. It ended in the second round with a big cut over his eye. So,
yeah, but that's all that Muay Thai smothering stuff, leg kicks.
Right, but the leg kicks didn't have a factor.
You're in that's inside fighting. You know what I'm saying? So it's all the same thing.
Oh, I'm totally with you. But the leg kicks were not a factor in that match.
Yeah. Hey, so that's you have a topic as well, right?
What's that? Oh, yeah.
You have a topic. So let's do one more. Let's do one more for our first show. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. We're gonna have a lot of this coming out. Me and Alex and Alex show. Also I'm gonna interview fighters in the future. I can have 3 people on at once. So, it could be a guest and 2 hosts, or it could be all 2 guests going on with me. And it's gonna be good. We're gonna be talking about tournaments. We're gonna be bringing on fighters. We're gonna be doing debates. It's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited. And thanks for tuning in. So, Alex, what's up? What do you want to talk about? Last final take.
I'm going to talk about the selflessness and selfishness of fighters and how important it is to be both. So,
okay, so are fighters selfish? Is that what you're saying?
Not
do fighters need to be selfish?
Yes.
That's what you're saying? But what do you mean in what way?
Let me explain. Let me explain. So there's a selflessness that you need to have, and there's a selfishness that you need to have. And here's what I mean by that. So I am acquaintances and friends with a lot of competitors and fighters that really will never be teammates. And I'll just tell you this right now. Richard Avery Plowden is one of them. And he had a post, maybe some might remember, and it was really more of an acknowledgement and a congratulations post of his parents on their anniversary. And he mentioned how he's not ready to be married. He's not ready to be a father because he understands how selfless his parents were and what they had to give up just to be married and then to be parents when they were his parents. And he recognized, he's like, I'm not ready for that yet, because he understands what that was. Now, I actually got a chance to talk to him about that. And he said, listen, I had that modeled for me, and so I see what that's like. And so I did not have that modeled for me at all. That was not the model that I was given and that I had seen.
Right.
So I didn't really get that and understand that until now that I'm in that. So let me say that he's absolutely right, that you need to be selfish.
So selfish.
If you want to be long-term successful,
right?
There are certain things that you need to really take control of. Your time, you're not going to get back. All right? But everything needs to be a priority. All right. You need to prioritize every little thing that you do. So your training, you need to be selfish with it. All right. Your time, you cannot, like, if you skip on a tournament, all right, you're not getting that back.
Yeah.
If you have an opportunity and you don't take full advantage of it, you are absolutely squandering not just that one opportunity, but the ones to come. And that's the where you need to be selfless. We can all understand times when you're at a tournament and you need to rid yourself of yourself because for the betterment of a team. We
When
can
you're team
all think
fighting, right?
we can all think of so many areas of life where that's important. And so where I say that you need to prioritize this stuff better, I wouldn't give up one thing. All right. So this year I became a father. All right. And almost 4 years ago, I became a husband. And
Yeah.
I I wouldn't trade a single thing. All right. And those times I wouldn't change anything. When I was in my early and mid 20s, there's a lot of opportunities that were squandered. And so and I let a lot of them get away. That if I could have back, my competition performance would probably look a lot different. All right. And those are the areas where I absolutely need to be selfish. And I'm saying this for me. I
That's
don't want
true.
to out anybody. I don't want to out anybody and say, you've seen this guy needs to be like that. And this guy needs to be like that. Because I can only say that about me. All right. And so
Yeah,
some
man.
people,
I agree
I
with
get
you.
texts all the time. Hey, how come you're not fighting here? Hey, how come you're not fighting there? Let me explain. Because I got a 7-month-old daughter. If I have a weekend that I'm going to be away somewhere, I'm going to tell you what every single moment is going to be. It's going to be with her. But she's only 7 months old. I didn't have her for 10 years. All right.
All right.
You see what I mean? So there's definitely opportunities where I needed to be more selfish. And I think today, now listen, this is a 36-year-old Alex Dingmann who's saying this. This is not a 22. This is not a 26-year-old Alex Dingmann. That Alex Dingmann needed to be different. But how many fighters right now today need to hear that? Alex, I'm gonna ask you, Alex, how
Yeah.
many fighters today need to hear that they need to be selfish with their training? I'm gonna ask you that right now. What do you
Yeah,
say?
it's true. I think that every fighter needs to be selfish with their training. Every fighter, because that the same kind of thing happened to me. I had my team that I was managing and coaching, and I was still fighting, and kind of the team took the priority, and I wasn't selfish towards my training. You know what I mean? I was trying to balance it off, and it took away from that. So, you only got a short time where you're really peaking in your career, about 10, 12, 13 years, and you need to be selfish. I wish I could go back and be more selfish. So all you young fighters out there that are listening, this is a great advice right here from Alex, and it makes a lot of sense. You don't want to look back and say, man, I wish I would have worked harder and put more time into my sport and done better, because that's it. Time is a resource. So I agree with you right there, man. That's a great great help out there for anybody listening.
And I'll name drop a couple people just so that people understand the dynamics of it. We've mentioned his name probably too much for the show today, so I'm gonna just say it one more time. When Paul Mitchell was deciding to pick up Raymond Daniels, apparently there was the decision between, well, are we going to pick up Jason Borelli or are we going to pick up Jason Facey? Some people might not even know who the name Jason Facey is.
Yeah.
Jason was the freaking jit. He was legit. All right. Willie Hicks reminds me a lot of Jason Facey. All right. But Jason Facey at the time was amazing. And that was kind of because both Jason Facey and Raymond were lightweights at the same time. People forget that they were lightweights.
They fought a lot.
I know because I was in that same division, so I know, right? And I remember like, who's it going to be today? Who's it going to be today? That sounds ridiculous today, but we don't know where Jason. I don't know where Jason Facey is personally. All right. So, but look at that. Raymond's been doing this for 20 years, and I haven't seen Jason Facey. And he was way more talented than me or anybody else in that group.
Yeah.
That's just an example.
That's true. That's true, man. That's a good take right there. Well, hey, what's going on? Houston Thomas is saying, "What's up, Power Baby?" Hey, so this is the first Point Fighter Radio Show, Alex and Alex Point Fighter Radio Show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna come back even stronger. We're gonna bring on another guest to debate with us, and we're gonna talk a lot about sport karate. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Make sure you guys follow Point Fighter Radio page. Share it and just tune in. We'll let you know when the next one was. This one, we just did it unannounced as a test, but we're going to be promoting the next one, and we're going to be back even harder. And give us your opinions and topics. All right. Point Fighter Radio. Alex, good work, man. Good talking to you. Have a great weekend.
Good job, Alex.
Power, baby. Woo. Yeah. All right. We're going to end it right now.